they're actors. They can act better than me, yes, but at the same time, I don't feel like they ever bring anything really to the roles themselves. I'm like, just Hollywood. You just happen to know the right people. I feel, and that's why you're sticking in Hollywood. Hello and welcome to another Dead Pixel, a podcast about video games, entertainment, life, a little bit of everything in between. I'm your host, Joe, and with me, with a fresh haircut and a brand new outlook on life, Nick. How's it going, Nick?
Going good. This is not a super fresh haircut. It's actually probably just appropriately fresh. I got it last week, almost 1 week ago, 6 days ago, as of the recording of this podcast. But thank you for noticing. Thank you for noticing. How are you, Joe?
Doing all right. Ended up, I thought to myself, how could I spend an absorbent amount of money to play Beat Saber? And then I bought a PSVR 2. So,
Good.
yeah.
Good.
Uh,
Very good. You
yeah,
bought.
I'll talk more about that a little bit later. But the long story short is, they go for like 550, and I picked mine up for 410 off of Facebook Marketplace.
That's good.
So yeah, I thought it was a pretty decent deal. It was better than anything I was going to get in Black Friday, so which is my target goal originally.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
yeah,
and as new as it is, just in general, it probably can't be used that much. So somebody probably got it and realized they didn't really want to deal with it and decided to turn it around. So that's a pretty good savings.
yeah, the guy pretty much said he's like, yeah, I played some Gran Turismo 7 with it, and then he was like, I ended up playing Resident Evil Village, and then I goes after that, didn't have enough time for gaming, and it's just sitting there. Yeah, it had all the paperwork, all the boxes, everything was immaculate, so it was a good deal.
That is really good.
Yeah. So we are recording. Usually we do every 2 weeks, but this time it's only been 7 days. We're going to be absent in the near future because Nick here is going to be going on a wildlife adventure. Um, he's going to go be one with nature, hug some trees, and try to get up and close to personal with some bears. Again.
Yes. Bear riding is something that is a pastime of my people.
Bareback bear riding.
Bareback bear riding. I'm bareback. The bear is bareback, and I just ride the bear, and I've done it.
We're talking about actual animals, people, not like the
Wait,
the
what?
lumberjack bear. We're talking about the actual fuzzy, brown bear. To each their own, and Nick does Nick, or a bear apparently. All
Did
right,
you ever
and
watch?
this is why, if you remember from last episode, Nick likes to start fires.
That's
Allegedly.
allegedly. You have to. I have to sue you for slander if you don't say allegedly. Um, have you ever seen much 30 Rock?
Not a whole lot, but I've seen enough.
There's a part where Jack Donaghy, played by Alec Baldwin, everyone's favorite actor. There's a part where Jack Donaghy is he's finding out that so in the gay community he is a prize. He's not gay, but in the gay community he is what he is highly valued. And he's telling Liz Levin, he's like, I'm a daddy. I'm a bear. I'm a daddy bear.
I most of did not see that episode.
And then like he's trying to seduce this, I forget why, but this somebody important that's gay. And and he says he's talking to Liz Levin again about this person. And he said he's like, his name is James, not Jim, not Jimmy, James. Man, 30 Rock is like the best show. I'm sorry. That
Uh,
was a weird
oh,
tangent.
okay. The telenovela one is still probably one of my favorites.
Oh, dude.
Uh,
Yeah, that is a really good one.
but no, it's just you riding bears or animals. There's a manga actually where I can't remember the exact title, but essentially the gist of it is it's more or less Putin, uh, but it's like, being known for riding all these like animals and like so on the cover it's him riding a tiger,
Yeah.
and for one reason or another gets isekai'd, and it's just him like
I feel like I've heard of
dominating
this.
over other creatures and trying to ride them. So
Yeah, that's me.
I
That's me, but I'm going to be up north near Canada, jumping out of trees onto bears. So if I come back a little worse for wear, don't be surprised.
all right. Just remember, you can't cancel out their fire with fire, or you can technically, but good luck trying.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, so hope you stay safe and hope you have a good time out there. Uh, and yeah, this last week it seems to have a few good tidbits of news. So what do we got here?
Couple of different things. There's not usually that much in, week to week. And this is okay. This is not too bad, I think, as far as news goes. PS5 console price cut rumors are going on. Um, they have some real guesstimates, I guess. I don't know how legitimate this is, but Video Games Chronicle is reporting these rumors. It's going to be a 75 euro reduction in Germany from 550 basically to 574. United States $50 reduction from 500 down to 450. Great Britain £75 reduction from 480 down to 405. So that's a little odd, but I didn't know the price was exactly that. But I guess they've got to make it make sense for the local area. So yeah, I thought I heard about prices rising for PS5 in areas outside of the United States. So I'm kind of surprised to see that there might actually be a price cut. PS5 has been selling really well. As well as they have been able to sell it. It was really hard to get for first couple of years, kind of due to the pandemic and the supply lines being kind of in a precarious situation. But now is probably a pretty good time. Like this thing came out like in 2020, right? It came out like right with the pandemic.
So
I can't
yeah,
remember.
the with the most recent bundle of God of War, that's when they actually those were still sold out for a bit, and then it wasn't until I would say 6 months ago they actually became more plentiful and they dropped in price actually for the God of War bundles. Um, Instead of being, I believe it was 550, they were selling for five, and that's when I bought mine. So yeah, if anything, it was actually easier to get here in the U.S. Or a little cheaper, and if they're going to be reducing the baseline without a game to 450, that'd be interesting. Uh, Kind of curious what's going on. Mostly because at this point, I guess a lot of the hardcore fan base would have already gotten PlayStation 5s by now.
Yeah,
They've been out for a while. You can just you more or less go to any store and still pick them up. So it kind of would make sense that they would drop the price. But yeah, you're right. They had gone up. Most places around the world, and uh, now it could be the fact that they finally starting to have overstock.
yeah,
Some rumors of from the uh, FTC, litigation stuff, rumored that they're supposed to be coming out with a Slim and a potential Pro. So there's still that option. So they might be dropping it, making a new bottom end, and then maybe going through these,
yeah.
then replacing them with the Slims,
You're probably
which
right. They're probably trying to get rid of their inventory and shrinking the price, lowering the price, so that they can kind of clear some of that out, just in time for them to release a slim, maybe, and probably a pro, and get people to buy that, and have that be the $600 or whatever item.
Yeah, and that's probably what I would think is going on if that rumor tends to be true. Um, but for a while now, other places have been paying, a higher than original MSRP, and that sucks. So it would really it'd really bite for anyone who had to pay that upgraded price just to then get slapped in the face, being like, "Oh yeah, now you gotta pay," or now everyone else gets to pay lower than you. Uh,
Yeah,
so I kind of will see what happens. But
yeah,
hey, hopefully it does go down, and that'd be good for everyone in the long run. So,
yeah.
because generally about this time you would start to see, like I said, a slim variant price cut because generally you'd upgrade some minor components because they'd be more or less cheaper to obtain because it's actually more expensive to continue to buy old equipment as they're getting phased out. And with the supplies hopefully being steady now. We'll see. Everything seems to always go wrong, and depending on if there's more economical turmoil, and if more countries stop stuff, because there's one reason or another, there's always going to be a blockade. Seems lately.
Y-
So
Yeah, like you never know what kind of political upheavals are going to cause the supply lines to get kind of messed up, which is a good reason to have at least some manufacturing, on the home front. But that is difficult to do in this day and age. I'm kind of I'm wondering about you, like if, well, I guess first of all, when do you think that a pro would come out? Let's just kind of put the slim on the back burner because that could kind of, I imagine it'll be about the same time as the pro, but I'm not really as interested in that because that's sort of given. But like a pro, like, do you think that wouldn't be this year, but maybe like Christmas 24? You think?
yeah, I would say it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility to have a slim as early as this fall, and then I would say a pro, uh, anytime 24, but you'd probably guess it'd be like summer, early fall. Early fall would probably be the ideal time
Yeah,
to have a pro model come out.
I guess that's kind of what I
Uh,
mean by Christmas is like October, like just in time for Christmas, more or less.
Yeah, I mean, maybe even a little bit sooner than that.
Yeah.
Like as starting as early as maybe August, September, and then because it's going to take a while to get out, and then we'll see what happens. But it's one of those things that it's not. A lot of people feel that it's still too early, or it's not even yet necessary to have a pro this season. Or the only reason why Xbox has the Series X and S monikers is because they couldn't make a there wasn't a way to really appropriately make a cheap variant, and so that's why they just made a lesser system, made it 1440p like target base, and they came out with the S, making it all digital. Uh, and then they're like, well, if you think of it as the X being pretty much equivalent to just the PlayStation, which they are fairly similar, uh, they're the X. When you look at the Microsoft family, like, oh, the X is the Pro, the more powerful one. Yes, but it's not. It's actually just the baseline. That is the base, and then you
And the
have
S is sort of
the
like
Slim.
the slim version of that. Like they just did their
Yeah,
slim early, kind of.
yes, exactly, and it's done them pretty good for the most part, but yeah, there's a lot of people because of the way the pandemic happened, slowed down a lot of transition. You couldn't get new consoles. Um, it's only now starting where a lot of those games developers finally got the new consoles, started getting to work with them firsthand, and so now current gen games are finally coming out without being only meant for current gen. Nothing, no cross gen situation. They're not targeting PS4 or Xbox One.
We've kind of finally
They're
shifted into the full new generation. Yeah,
And so they're taking advantage of the full hard drive situation. They get to really target and just focus clearly on current gen. So this is really the starting point in a lot of ways for this new generation, and we've been in it for a couple years now. So it's kind of a late start, and
yeah,
but a lot of people are. That's why it's like, well, if you're already talking about a new refresh, it's like it just feels a little too early to jump the gun. A lot or just not even necessary in general because a lot of people are, this generation is probably going to last equally as long as the previous or even longer, and that's probably the case. Um, I I don't see them really doing much until probably 2027, 2028, coming out with new consoles. They're gonna this one's gonna be dragged out a little longer is my guess.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that the time for like with the interstitial half point, upgrade being a possibility and a probability, I think you're right. But I think that the time of 5 year generations is gone for now, and we're going to see more like 8, 7 to 9 year generations of a console. But I mean, you're kind of right. Like, I don't feel like I feel like my PS5 is plenty powerful enough. The load times are not too long. There's not really stuttering or anything like that. I can't really see in a year and a half games, being so far advanced that I would feel the need being the operative word there, to go out and buy a PS 5.5. I just, it's like I would because I want to and because I have a video games podcast, but like if I was just a guy playing games, for a hobby, I'd be like, I would stick. I would probably, if they do come out with an upgrade in 24, I would just say, F it. I'm gonna wait 6 months or another year, and then get it. I wouldn't get it right away, but maybe that's what they're going for. They're going for people who, like, they know that there is a upgrade crowd that is going to clamor for it, but not really need it. And then they can let those people, buy up all the stock and go crazy. And then whenever the supply lines recover and the scalpers get screwed over because like they're not able to scalp anymore, then like it'll be ready for the normal consumer to come in and buy it when they're ready. I don't know. I'm just kind of talking here.
yeah, so there's the other thing is when it comes to um, developing the games, now there's a problem already with the Xbox S and X because according to according to most of the paperwork, you have to make the game pretty much the same feature set.
Hmm.
I mean, you can't omit actual like gameplay qualities within the same game, uh, and that becomes a problem because now developers are going to have to develop for the lowest tiered system. Now, if you do another higher system, a pro model for any of these current generation, then you're looking at, well, you still have to cater to the lowest common denominator. That's why it's actually great that we're finally cutting the cord from last gen, because now they're not targeting PS4s or Xbox Ones. They're now looking at the Series, or the PlayStation 5 line, and so by getting another bump, they're like, well, the only thing that can really come of that is, yeah, if you're having issues with load times, which none of these really are, and if you're going to be trying to make more ray tracing, I guess more graphical quality, but 6K isn't a thing really. Granted, yes, we can maybe the newer titles might be able to do 4K 60, 4K 120, and that might be the target goal. A little excessive, not I feel that's not necessary, but other people, they want all the frames they can get. So if they can get 1440p, 240, then they'll just be drooling all over that, and maybe that's who they'll be targeting. But once again, then developers are going to have to try to optimize for that while still catering to the lowest common denominator.
Yeah,
So
I guess you're right. Like, I think maybe one thing they could do, um, if they were going to do like a 5.5, or if they end up doing like an Xbox kind of Series X Pro or whatever, um, is beef up the stuff around it. So like the games run the same, but maybe a little bit better. Like they run at 60, on the old systems, but they run at 80 or 90 or 120 or whatever. You can kind of beef out. The load times are faster, things like that. But beyond that, like doing like streaming, like if PlayStation or Xbox wanted to kind of get some of that sweet Twitch money and make a streaming service so that you could play your game like you're like a kid, right? You're like a 12-year-old kid or something, and you don't have like a lot of money, but you can ask for a new Xbox and games and stuff like that, and then you can just stream like your playing of the game at 48 FPS, and it like goes out at like 30, and you can kind of talk to all your friends and do all your streaming stuff. I mean, that's something that I could see being worthwhile if I was of somebody of limited means and just starting out, but trying to get into that whole space. And that's a way that you could like beef up the system without having to beef up the games. I don't know, that's what I'd probably go for, but I'm sure it'll just be quality of life stuff. Like you're saying, there's only so much they can do before they get into like FTC kind of concern area.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm as far as just the actual pricing goes currently. Like I said, I'm going down. Prices dropping are is good for everyone, and as hope I don't know. I'm kind of in the bandwagon where I don't need a pro system yet, but unless who knows, they might come out with a new piece of tech that or a new thing that makes it like, oh well, that this makes sense. I mean, before they were kind of they kind of did that with VR for the PlayStation
Yeah,
4 Pro. Like, well, you can technically
if
play it
it
on the regular, but
like if it
it plays
runs the
better
VR
on,
better, that's cool.
and that's kind of what that was one of the reasons why I jumped on the Pro, because I just I wanted the original PSVR, and that was the most efficient way for me to do that system.
Yeah.
So, all right, what else you got in the news, man?
Yeah, that was a good convo. So Roblox leaked 4,000 developers' personal information back in 2021. I don't really know why this is only kind of just now coming out. Maybe it's been known in the inner circles, but Video Games Chronicle was kind of reporting this. It's so they leaked names, phone numbers, email addresses, dates of birth, and physical addresses, yikes, of attendees of the Roblox developers conferences held between 2017 and 2020. Yeah, that's a lot of developers' information. Roblox is, an extremely popular game for the younger generation. Not really so much for us, but I'm sure for plenty of younger people and younger YouTubers and stuff like that. Yeah, this is a pretty big deal. Apparently, it was sort of leaked before 2021, but only within like inner circles, and then in 2021, a lot of it just sort of came out
I think
there.
that's the same is that's the same year as one of the other E3s when they dropped a
Yeah.
bunch of personal information on more than one occasion. And I think 2020 might have been one of those years,
Well, this
or
was
at least around the same time.
this was
So
21, and I remember there being kind of two for E3, two big ones, but probably more, but there were two big ones, and I feel like the first one was right before the pandemic, or like the year that the pandemic was popping off, and they were trying to decide, and then the other one was like I can't remember, but I remember that like right around the pandemic, it was like, hey, there's a pandemic. Are we gonna have it? Are we gonna have it? But then there was also like, you guys just freaking leaked all this information. Nobody, like you guys are, and it was already dying. So people were like, we don't want anything to do with E3 right now because we're mad at it and it's not safe and it's kind of dying anyway. But yeah,
apparently it was 2019.
Okay.
I thought it was 2020, but it was 2019. 2020, according to the Verge article here, one of the quotes is saying, "Earning back the trust and support is our top priority," uh, because prior they had leaked out all the information. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's really stinks when you have to do all the press pass stuff, and then you're giving out all your like unfortunately, sometimes people their work number is their personal number, and therefore, yeah, they're
Yeah.
when you don't have a dedicated work, and you have to put in your home address because you technically work from home and you don't have a work address to put in,
Like,
that that stinks.
so like back when that 2019 leak did happen, I was listening to a lot of podcasts and they're talking about it, and a lot of podcasters were, they're not really developers so much, but they were, reporters and people that went to these conferences and had to submit, information and stuff like that. And they were talking about, ways to mitigate this problem for like taking personal responsibility for this kind of stuff. And it's like, you can't really stop if somebody's going to leak your information, but you can get buffer information and use that for your contact info for work and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if it still exists, but like getting like a Google phone number and like getting like a PO box and kind of doing all these things that are not like literally where, your mom and dad call you, or literally where you sleep, or literally, the email that you use every single day. And I think that in general, it's probably a good idea to have that just honestly just as a citizen nowadays, because pretty much everyone is online, all the time. A lot of people for work that don't like work in video games, but just like work on, I don't know, do like factory work or go to any kind of conference, your information is going to have to be out there to some degree, and you never know who's going to get hit when and how hard. So honestly, this kind of thing just kind of makes me think I need to just go out and get, I need to kind of create a suite of contact information to use as a buffer for my own personal life.
Yeah, you make yourself a fake Facebook profile, a fake LinkedIn, get yourself a burner phone, pretend, just have yourself a pseudo personality. You know, Nicholas, is would be your new persona. Uh, the Nicholas, was it the the cub? Oh no, the bear rider. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Nicholas the Bear Rider,
Bear.
yeah, yeah,
Well, if you're the one riding the bear now, so then you'd have to be, you have to switch roles. So,
yeah,
there you go, complete alter ego.
yeah. I
You know,
mean, it's kind of a tough thing, and like there's not a lot of really reliable, second contact things that you can use, because you don't really want to be like a drug dealer carrying two phones. It looks weird. It feels weird. You're gonna lose one. It's awkward. So you really do want stuff to funnel into kind of one convenient place. But it's difficult. If I were so inclined and had the mental and monetary ability to do this, I would probably start a company that's like, hey, we create a second life for you. So like, and it would be for like, hey, your office stuff, all that stuff, you don't want it falling into the wrong hands. You don't want your personal life and your office life getting mixed all up and someone figuring all that stuff out. Here
do you
you
need to
go.
disappear off the grid? Call Second Life.
I mean, it'd probably have to go through a VPN too. It's like here. It'd probably like here's like Second Life VPN, and when you're on it, it's like phone number goes to their email, blah 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 blah, and you're just totally different. It's just another layer of security. I think that if you brought that down to like the price of a fairly normal VPN, I think there'd be a lot of people who would be like, cool. I'll do that. I'll do that for, $15 a month. Just kind of not have to think about it. And like, that'd be pretty cool. But I don't
Yeah,
know.
but I mean, for a little bit more, I could just buy all your information off the dark web, and then I could just live your life, run your credit into the ground,
Yeah, you
and
got
then
me
I'll be
there.
scot free.
You got me there. You got me there.
All right. Well, that does stink, but I mean, it's weird that it's coming out, a couple years late. But
I kind of
Roblox,
I
mad
kind of wonder
popular.
if they tried to keep it under wraps. Like they're just like, all this stuff got leaked. We're not going to spread anything about it. And now, like they have done as much damage control. I would hope. Like, hey, back like rewind back to 2021. You're a developer at Roblox. Somebody comes by your cubicle and goes, "Hey, all your stuff got leaked. Um, People could know about it, but like it's not been reported or anything, so it's not like widely known. So warning, please go ahead and change all of your life, like as soon as possible. Okay, thanks, bye." And now it's like fully out there. By now, everybody has had a chance to change everything, change all the locks and do all that stuff. So maybe the damage has been mitigated to some degree.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, hopefully no one else got really too hurt by it. So, all right. And what else we got? What's the last bit of news you have for us?
Last bit, Miyamoto of Nintendo fame was discussing, I guess with a reporter or something, his opinion on why Pikmin hasn't really done very well in sales. He basically said that, he said a bunch of things, but he basically said that he thinks that it's due to the gameplay being too difficult, or like it kind of does a good job taking the blame, I guess, or for Nintendo taking the blame, saying that they really haven't done a good job conveying the gameplay as being interesting, and instead people kind of perceive it as difficult, and that is kind of true. With some of my early uh, playing of Pikmin, is like it was fun at first, and then it just got kind of hard, and a little tedious, and I was like, eh. And so I kind of think that he's right in that. So he said that they've been trying to change things up so that it is uh, easier to perceive it as interesting instead of difficult. So I still don't know if I'm going to have enough time to play Pikmin whenever it comes out. But this is something that encourages me toward trying to make time for it if they are trying to kind of resolve that difficulty issue.
See, I heard that it's from. I was listening to a different the 8-4 podcast, and they were talking about how it was, pretty fun. Just the opening tutorial bit lasted forever, and they explained so much, and they held your hand for so long that it was actually pretty mind numbing. Once you got past all that, then it seemed to open up for them, and they seem to like it pretty good. I've not been much of a Pikmin fan, just not my cup of tea. So, yeah, I'm curious if you do get around to it. What your thoughts would be on that.
I mean, it is a real time strategy game, and that is a genre that is kind of born for PC because you need to do so many micro movements and stuff like that. So it's a hard battle. I mean, it's kind of amazing that Pikmin works as well as it does on a controller, but it is a hard uphill battle um, that I think that you can probably kind of work around, but it's tough. So I hope that they can do that and make it easier to play and more fun, or at least more intuitive, or something like that. But yeah, so I just thought that was kind of interesting.
Okay. All right. Well, we got here. That's pretty much it for the news right now. So now we're gonna get to what we've been playing. So you got your roundup thoughts for Zelda? Did you finally 100% it? Got every Korok seed? Scaled every mountain, whatever it is?
No, I haven't had too much more time to play. To play it, I played a bit more last weekend, but not too much during the week. Yeah, I'm still just working through it. This is more just I just put it on there more just to kind of say I'm still plugging away at it. I did beat another boss, I guess, last weekend, and got most of the way through, and I'm up to the fourth boss. I can't remember if I beat three bosses last time or just two, but anyway, I'm up to the fourth boss, um, and it's hard. I think that it scales. I could be wrong, but I've talked to other people in my office, actually at work, who have been playing this game, and they did the boss that I'm doing fourth. They did it earlier, and they didn't have very much trouble with it, but I am having uh, a bit more trouble with it. It's not crazy, but like I'm getting kind of one shot, by the boss, or I'm having to you know, I can take like one hit, but I have to basically, fill all my hearts back up, or else I'm really probably going to die. So I think there's some sort of scaling going on there. So I decided to leave and go exploring around a little bit more. Maybe try to get a couple more uh, temples done, um, and or shrines done, and then get some more hearts and really try to find a great fairy fountain so I can improve my armor and stuff like that. But yeah, it's still going well. It's uh, still a great game, and I will probably still be playing it for a few more weeks. Right now, my main thing is just trying to get it done with it before Armored Core 6 comes out at the end of August. Should be able to do it, but um, it's it's not gonna be way before that. I'm pretty sure, but yeah, it's still a good game. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing. You say you're spending a little bit of money on some DLC here. Is that what I see?
Yeah, so now that I got the PSVR 2, one of the first things I went to do is to see like what games can I bring from the PS VR 1? What were either free or paid upgrades to get to the VR 2? And so Beat Saber and Synth Rider both have free upgrades. You have Pistol Whip as well. And certain games like Tetris and Res, you have to do like a $10 upgrade, which isn't bad. And but because it's been a hot minute since I played Synth Rider or Beat Saber, I then decided to drop like uh, probably like $90 on DLC. Uh, a lot of different song
Whoa,
packs.
yeah, a lot of different song packs, huh?
Yeah, yeah, that's just straight up DLC, just nothing else.
It's got to get that ABBA.
Yeah, it's not on there yet. But
Mm,
it could be worse.
it's
No,
trash. No
I
ABBA. It's
have
trash.
there's still a lot of DLC I haven't picked up, but I skimmed through the ones I really wanted. For example, Beat Saber came out with the Queen DLC that I haven't got a chance to play yet, so went ahead and picked that up.
Okay.
There was the Gorillas had a song pack on Synth Riders. So yeah, both games are awesome still, and enjoying my experience so far with the PSVR 2. I just only had it for a couple days now, and but currently it seems to be working just fine. And I went ahead and picked up some new games as well. Picked up the I never got around to Resident Evil Village, so I decided to pick that up, especially since currently there is a PlayStation sale. Um, there's also I picked up Moss Book 2, and they have book one with it as a bundle, and it was only like $5 extra. So I went ahead and even though I have Moss book one on PSVR one, there is no free upgrade or upgrade path. So I went ahead and for $5, I picked up one again on the PSVR two.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, there's a couple games out there that are pretty much must haves that I'll probably pick up within the next couple weeks, and that's going to be Gran Turismo 7. Apparently, it's pretty god tier in a lot of fronts. When it comes to VR, there's the Horizon,
Actually,
call a mountain.
I actually have a question about that. So,
Yeah.
um, so you don't, can't remember. Do you have a wheel?
No,
Okay,
not at this moment.
but like, if you were gonna play VR, could you play with a wheel on like Gran Turismo?
Yep.
And like,
Yeah.
would you? I guess you would have like. I'm just trying to figure out how that would work. Like, you would have like probably like a digital representation of the wheel in your visor, and you could obviously wouldn't be able to see your real wheel, but you could see a digital representation. Maybe I'm just wondering how that would work.
So usually in first person, when you do first person racing games, you'll see a steering wheel. So as you're even if you're using a thumbstick and you turn, they'll usually have some sort of some sort of image like that. Unless if it shows just above that, or if they just make it disappear, so you see uh, the odometer and stuff like that. But in this case, it should be pulled back, and you should just see the wheel there. I'm not sure if they'll show you like your avatar's hands or arms holding the wheel. Not 100% sure on that. Uh, but yeah, it's from all accounts, it's a great way to play it. So a lot of people really seem to like it. I haven't touched a Gran Turismo really since two, so I tried getting into three, and it just something about it. I just kind of fell off with them,
Yeah.
and then I became more of a fan of. They became too technical, and I became more of a fan of like the Forza Horizon line, where it's just like more arcadey fun, and or I'll do like the Need for Speed Hot Pursuit or something like that. So I still like a good racing game. I just prefer not to have to adjust all my suspension and all sorts of nuances that I just personally don't care about. And I felt
Yeah.
that's the way Gran Turismo had went for a while,
Mm.
and now this one has dialed it back. Still has stuff for the fans like that, but it's more accessible, and
Yeah.
apparently just looks amazing all around.
I mean,
Because
yeah, yeah.
Gran
That.
Turismo Sport was the one that came out for VR1, or that was you were able to do, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't like really racing. It was like time trials and stuff, and it was
Um,
just a half-hearted attempt. So
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
VR and Gran Turismo and Horizon really. Um, that they seem like they go hand in hand. That's kind of the perfect spot for VR to really show off, and it's also kind of the perfect spot for racing games to kind of make a comeback and show off. Because like, if you're in a helmet and you're like looking, like all around, um, that's pretty cool. You don't. So then you don't need the wraparound, the wraparound monitors, which are cool too. But if I wanted to look up at the ceiling of my car, it's stupid, but at least it would feel more real if it's like that's not really going to help you or whatever.
I'm curious. I'm curious. Will it let you stick your head out the window, side window, and look?
That would be
Do a Dumb and
cool.
Dumber
I
bit.
mean, if it like is stupid stuff like that, it's like, well, you obviously wouldn't do that going like 230 miles an hour. But if you could, it would just be like, okay, it's whatever, man. But yeah, that actually intrigues me because I kind of had written racing games off until Horizon, one of the more recent Horizons, playing that on Game Pass, and just playing it on my crappy old computer at 1080. It was great, on a controller. It was great. It was really awesome. It was really fast and it felt good, and the cars looked great, and it was super like it just had you driving around and all that stuff. So like playing that in VR, that sounds like even better. The only thing is that I do like the third person view of the vehicle. That is cool, but I think VR would lend itself more to like being in the car. But yeah, I hope that you get to play some of that and let us know how it turns out because I'm that's intriguing to me for sure.
Yeah, there's that, and I'm really looking forward to Synapse that came out just a little while ago. If you remember, during the Keeley bit or one of the major presentations. I forget which one, but it's more or less it's a first person shooter where it comes into like you're there to silence a rogue operative, and they're hooked up to a machine, and so you have to do like an Inception style dive into their mind, and they're in control of said space. It's very much a simple color palette where it's like super hot, where you only have like three or four colors.
Mm,
Uh, and From everything I've read, it's a really good game, and it does a lot of things really neat. You have your basic firearms, but then you end up getting like a telekinetic power as well. And it seems to be a lot of people seem to be really liking it right now. So I'm really excited to try to give that one a shot. I got to pick that one up. And yeah, there's a couple of the classics that I want to pick back up as well. For I think it was $5, I ported over Thumper, and I really like Thumper. It's just uh, it's a it's a very unique game,
yeah.
and it's simple. It's a good rhythm game, but or rhythm violence as it's classified as, and an appropriate title for it,
Yeah,
or
I've heard
moniker.
great things about Thumper. Man, the VR library is getting to be fairly robust. If you talk all the games you've mentioned, and then plus kind of the Gran Turismo racing and racing games that are going to be coming out. Um, yeah, I mean it's if not PSVR 2, then I think there'll probably be at least one more iteration before they would give up on it. But it's going to be a pretty big library. It's getting pretty cool. Very tempting.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they do another iteration this generation of console. They might do one for the next one.
Yeah.
I know, but for it's really good for everything for the price point for sure. There are a few things that they could do better, but honestly, I'm really pleased with it. Uh, it's only a single cable, USB-C cable that goes to the back of the headset, plugs right directly into the PlayStation, so it can't be much cleaner than that. And the new controllers feel all right. It felt a little weird playing Beat Saber at first. I felt like the actual sabers were a little shorter, but I'm like, well, maybe the opposite was true. Maybe since the old VR1 was using PlayStation 3 technology for the wands, uh, the little light, balls of light on the move controllers.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
I'm wondering
those were
if they were a
wrong.
little more yeah, because it's just a camera looking at the light sensor, and like maybe they were just more forgiving and gave you more reach.
Mm,
So once, but uh, it looks amazing. There's a couple key features I'm excited to try to check out in the near future. And there's still a list of games that like are on my. I just spent a good amount of time today just adding things to my wish list. There's some new stuff coming out that are pretty exciting. There's one of the games that also got updated was the Walking Dead Saints and Sinners.
hmm
So that one was actually given out as a free PS Plus game, and apparently, if you do the $10 upgrade to the Tourist Edition, which gives you some more content, uh, from there you can then do a free PS4 to PS5 upgrade. So they have there's a bunch of hoops to jump through. Uh, Synth Riders and Beat Saber kind of made you go through and re-download all your DLC in game in the PSVR 2. So it'd
hmm
be like purchase music pack, and then you'd go to purchase, but then it'd be listed as free. Um, Beat Saber did this really skeezy thing where it'd be like, it's this pack is going to cost you $15. I'm like, I've already paid for this. And then there's a little drop down, and then it shows you the exact same thing. You click on it, and it goes free. I'm like, oh, you pieces of garbage. If you didn't pay attention, then you might have accidentally repurchased it all over again just for the sake of it. So they don't make it easy. And I think it was Synth Writer just makes you manually click on each song individually, hit accept, and purchase accept because it automatically shows for free. And I'm like, all right. And then if it's but after all that, it works just fine. So yeah, I don't know. I'm a fan of VR, and it's a lot. The only reason why I would recommend someone not going with PlayStation VR is if you just don't want PlayStation titles in general, and if
Mhm.
you're not a PlayStation fan, uh, I mean, go with the was it the Meta Quest 2, or now there's a 3. I'm not sure how much that is. But the nice thing about those is you can actually sideload a lot of games onto it. So you can hack into like Beat Saber, and then the community has a bunch of custom songs on there, so you can get you get way more music than you can ever get normally, and so there's that. That's actually really tempting, uh, but that and it's a single unit that you can set up on the go wherever you want. Like I don't know much about the Quest 3, so that I can't speak for. And there's other high-end options as well. I mean, you've got units that cost like 1,000 something dollars. In theory, the PlayStation plus the VR, brand new, it's like 550 for, or 500 for the PlayStation, and then it's 550 for the VR. So you're looking at over 1,000 US dollars. That's a big stepping point to get into VR.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
if you don't have a gaming PC and you don't, a high-end gaming PC and you don't have, the money for another piece of VR equipment.
yeah, it just depends the path that you want to go. Like, if you want a high end PC for either, for gaming, obviously would be a big selling point for most people, but some people just they work in graphics and stuff like that, and even then, those people are probably gamers if they're working like in high end 3D modeling and stuff like that. But you've got if you've got people that want to do that, then going with an Oculus or whatever the other ones are is probably the smart thing. But if you're somebody that likes to play games and you know you're not into the computer aspect of it, the PC aspect of it, then it is still pretty expensive, but it's a cheaper, um, I guess, easier, slower route that you can do. Getting a PS5. Hey, I'm playing PS5 games, having fun. I do want to get VR, but I need to wait till I save up money. So you can play PS5 games, enjoy those while you're saving up money, and then when you have the money, you can go get your VR2 and plug that in, and it's just not as heavy of a hit to the wallet like all at once as opposed to like $1,000 you know Oculus or a Quest or whatever headset.
Well, like I said, I wouldn't have paid for it right now if it wasn't for the fact that I saw it as a killer deal.
Yeah,
I it's always a risk buying stuff off of secondhand,
it is.
uh, but but this one seems to, so far, fingers crossed, be doing really well. And there was no scratches, no blemishes. Everything looks good. And being a fact that it's such a new technology, it's only been out for like a year. Um, I was fairly comfortable with that. The guy had the manual of the box, so everything that came with, all the paper that wrapped everything. So I'm like, all right, we're good. And yeah, there's a bunch of new stuff coming out too. Eventually, you got Resident Evil 4.
Mm,
I was playing that on Xbox, but now that I have this, I'm like, "Hey, you know what? I'm just gonna stop playing that remake. I had made it pretty, like two
pretty far.
thirds through the game, and I just had taken a break, and it's like I'll get back to it. I'm like, no, I'm not getting back to it now. I'm just gonna wait until I can replay it again in VR because for everything, apparently, Village is just pretty amazing from what I've seen.
Mm,
So I have it. I'm just haven't got a chance to play it yet. It's one of the first things I bought. I'm like, all right, I gotta buy money on that, and Synapse. I'll be picking up. I'll probably be picking up Gran Turismo. Like I said, within the next couple days or so. So I'm I'm really interested to see how much I get into the racing. Yeah, but this, so far this VR bit has been fun. It's pretty easy to set up, and it's a little more user friendly as far as adjusting from person to person. Because my wife and I switch back the head. We play a couple songs of Synth Rider or Beat Saber, and then we just hand over the headset, quick do some quick adjustments, and then play a couple songs and switch back. And yeah, it's just there's a little tedium in there, but it's at least nice for the customization. And I do know that for people with glasses, they make aftermarket inserts for you can get prescription lenses to pop in there.
Whoa,
Um,
cool.
yeah, I've heard about that from a couple different podcasts. I'm like, that's really neat. Luckily, my prescription is weak enough that I don't really need it. It's just some text just might be slightly blurry for me, so I'm like, yeah, you know what, I'm fine.
That's
But it
awesome.
actually has enough room in there uh, to actually wear glasses comfortably. I feel. I just But man, even playing in my basement, having running the AC, it still gets really flipping warm. So it was
Yeah,
just like that's
you know,
VR is you work up a sweat sometimes.
it's just going to be a couple more generations before they can get that down to a pretty manageable size headset, and then I think it'll really start to pop off, especially if you can very quickly and easily like run your hand by it or something, and it'll bring up like real life. That's probably what I would work on if I really wanted to make it mainstream.
Yeah, just give me the Geordie, vision visor.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
if it is like something like sunglasses, that's what I heard somebody on a Giant Bomb E3 talk one time. Is they were like, yeah, it's rough now, but like imagine if it was just sunglasses, like that was the size, that was all you needed, was just basically a sunglasses with all the junk in it, and just put that on, and it was that easy, then it'd be a lot. And then Jeff Gerstmann, I think, was talking. He was like, yeah, that really sounds a lot more appealing than what we have now, for sure. And a lot more appealing, imagining that for general, like not big time gamer consumer. Yeah. Anyway.
yeah, all right. Well, that's about it for me. That's been my focus, or probably my focus for the next little bit, because it's my new toy, and I sure as heck want to try to get my money's worth out of it.
I bet.
Um, uh, but yes, all right. Other than that, I don't know, man. What have you been watching?
So I did get a chance to watch a little movie called 65 with Adam Driver. It is a sci-fi movie um, about. They tell you this pretty much immediately into the movie, but basically it is about a man, a human, I guess, or it just says visitor, that came to Earth 65 million years ago, and in a starship for various reasons. And the whole movie is just about them basically trying to survive. I won't really say too much more than that, but basically makes it so like dinosaurs are the enemy, as well as the planet itself. And about an hour and a half or so, maybe a little more, action movie. Um, Simple plot, a lot of jump scares and stuff like that at the beginning and throughout, which I found pretty annoying when that happened. But besides that, pretty good little popcorn movie. Nothing to really write home about, but not bad. Definitely wasn't a bad movie, and pretty fun overall. So that came to Netflix. So I was like, oh, I'm kind of wanted to watch this whenever it came out in theaters, and I'm glad I waited to watch it on Netflix because it was just fine right there.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen an Adam Driver movie where I was like, man, he's a good actor, or like this role was like he really made this role. It couldn't have been done with like he's like a Colin Farrell or whatever. Just like
Mm.
um, it's just they're actors. They can act better than me, yes, but at the same time, I don't feel like they ever bring anything really to the roles themselves. I'm like, just Hollywood. You just happen to know the right people. I feel, and that's why you're sticking in Hollywood.
It's
Um,
I think it's one of those things where like it's like sports is probably the best analogy, where it's like, yeah, there's a guy that comes off the bench in, let's say, basketball, and scores 40 points. And it's like, yeah, the conditions were perfect. The other team was tired. He was on the top of his game, and it just worked out great. And then there's people like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James that can just do it every night, and it's really rare for them to have like a bad game. I think the acting is sort of the same way, where people like Adam Driver, they're not really. It's not really that they're that great. It's just that they are consummate professionals and they are super consistent. And even when other people are taking a break on certain scenes or on certain days or for the whole movie, like they are still in it, and you can still tell that like their presence is still there. They're still reaching for the acting and doing a good job with it. And I think that's sort of what separates kind of the men from the boys on that, because I did start in Marvel's Secret Invasion, and that has Samuel L. Jackson in it, and Samuel L. Jackson is kind of the main draw for that, and he is pulling the weight. He's not as great as he has been in the past, but when other characters are like given, kind of stilted lines or whatever, he is still dialed in. And I think that's probably kind of the difference there. At least that's what I tell myself in my mind, but I could be wrong.
To muster up enough will to watch another Adam Driver movie.
Yep.
Like, at least he's gonna be consistent.
Yeah.
Yes, alright. Oh, so that manga from before is called, The Ride on King. So, yes, if
Okay.
you wanna see, more or less, non-Putin riding different like a griffin and stuff, then for sure, there you go.
Not Putin.
So
Yeah.
Nick Nick living his ride on king life in the woods there. We'll see you come back. It's only been a couple of weeks, but uh, we'll be coming back. What, 3 weeks from now? I expect to see a full on beard. It's just yeah.
I think it takes me about more than 3 weeks to really
Uh,
grow
you'll
the beard
You'll
out.
have you'll have the glazed look of someone who's seen way too much in their life. Yep. I'm waiting for those horror stories. Yeah, for sure.
They
Just
are incoming. Horror stories inbound.
just make sure that you don't have to outrun the bear. Just outrun your friends. All
Yeah.
right.
So,
Uh,
sorry, mom.
yeah. All right. Well, on that note, thank you for sticking with us through this episode. This is another Dead Pixel, episode 49, and just until next time, take it easy, guys,
Take,
and Nick, be safe.
I will. See ya.